So today we're going to be making chicken pot pie, easy with all pre-cooked or mostly pre-cooked things, store-bought things. You know, not a lot of extra work. Total prep time takes about 20 minutes. Takes about 45 minutes to bake. Thank you. Hi, welcome to Bob Appetit. Today we're going to make easy, quick chicken pot pie. Okay, so today we're making chicken pot pie with everything easy. Homemade store-bought gravy, leftover chicken, an onion, potatoes I've already diced up, and pie crust, pre-made pie crust, and mixed vegetables. These will be microwaved and thawed and put into the mix. So to start, I have about 2 cups of shredded chicken. It's a good mix of white meat and dark meat. And I think I have about a breast and a half and I think 2 thighs in here. I'm going to use a little bit of broth to deglaze my pan after when I'm done browning this. I'm going to start off cutting up your onion. Onion does not need to be finely diced for this. All right. I'm going to do 2 cloves of garlic. And we're going to be putting it in with the onion, so I'm going to put it right in the onion here. Chop real well. Okay, so I have the oven preheating at 375, and I'm going to, before I start everything on the cooktop, I changed my mind. I'm going to do my pie crust first. So this is your generic pre-made pie crust. Obviously you make your own, but this is to be quick and easy, so we're doing pre-made. All right. We want to have enough of a lip at the top so that you can fold over make a nice fold. Get your air out. So we're going to let this sit, and then we're going to go back over to the to the cooktop. Okay, so my water is heating up for the potatoes. You're going to cook the potatoes they're already cubed, so you're going to cook them only for about 5 to 8 minutes, 10 minutes tops, because they're going to cook a lot more in the pot pie. So I have these just sitting in water while after I cut them to keep them from turning brown. So I'm going to let this water heat up a little bit more, but I don't have to wait for it. We're going to put the potatoes in. All right, so while that's heating up, while this is heating up, we're going to go ahead and start with the main stuff in the skillet. We're going to put oil. Let's turn it on to medium heat. About a tablespoon of canola oil. Use olive oil, whatever you want. Let that heat up. Okay, so this should be, yeah, getting pretty warm. We're going to put our onion, half an onion and 2 cloves of garlic in here. And we're just going to let them saute for, well, once it starts sauteing, for about 3 or 4 minutes. When it starts getting translucent. Yeah. So while we're waiting for the onions and garlic to finish sweating and slightly sauteing, talk about my chicken. I have about, like I said, about 2 cups, 2.5 cups of already cooked, it's leftover chicken, both white and dark meat. These were not cooked with any particular flavors or any seasoning or anything, just cooked in the oven. You can use a leftover rotisserie chicken, whatever. Just remember, whatever leftovers you have, the flavor's gonna might come into your pot roast. All right, it's starting to look pretty good. Browning on it. Onions are caramelizing nicely. I'm gonna add about a good pinch of salt. And some black pepper. All right, this is pretty much done. Now I'm going to add about a quarter cup of chicken broth to this. All right. So our potatoes are, they're breaking when I hit them. They're not tender yet. We want them to just start getting tender. So timer says another 3 minutes, and that's probably about right. Meanwhile, we can go ahead and add in our mixed vegetables. Let me get them. You can, if your potatoes are done a little bit early, you can put them in first. My vegetables are done, my potatoes aren't, so I'm going to go ahead and put my vegetables in first. Put a couple big spoons in here. That's about half of it, so that's about 8 ounces of vegetables. All right. Notice that broth is pretty much evaporated or is incorporated into the chicken. That's why we added that. It helps deglaze the pan if you're not using a non-stick pan, and it adds a little moisture to your chicken. All right, let's check the potatoes. Potatoes are done. Turn them off. I'm going to strain them. I'm going to add the potatoes to the chicken mixture. Okay, so I have about 2 medium potatoes in here. About a cup and a half, maybe 2 cups of potatoes. I'm going to stir these in. This is as much or as little as you want. You're making this if you want it more potatoey or less potatoey, more meat, vegetables, whatever you want. You're making this. All right. Now we're going to turn this down a notch, 2 notches. We'll put it down to about medium low. And we're going to add our gravy. I have 2 jars of 12-ounce jar of chicken gravy. You can get whatever you want. If you feel energetic, make your own gravy. You might have gravy left over from when you made your chicken. Use that. Use whatever you have. All right. And I will need both jars. Probably I'll do 1.5 and see how we are. All right. So you want it all to be, everything should be suspended in the gravy. You shouldn't have a lot of extra vegetables or corn, chicken or potatoes exposed like I do still here, so I will need the rest of this can or jar. That's pretty good. Now we want this to heat up completely. You gotta let it come to a simmer and simmer just for like 4 or 5 minutes. It doesn't have to go long. It's just to kind of incorporate it all together. We will be putting it into the pie shell in a few minutes. As you can see, it's starting to bubble nicely. Now we're going to let it go for about, like I said, about 5 minutes at this point. it a stir every few minutes. And I'm going to give it a little taste and see if it needs more salt or pepper. Let's grab a piece of chicken and a potato. Gravy's good. Needs a little more salt, so I'm going to put another half a pinch maybe. All right, 3 more minutes. Okay, I'm going to tell you about the vegetables. I used frozen vegetables. You can use fresh vegetables. You can use leftover vegetables. Do not use canned vegetables. They will turn to mush. They won't stand up very well at all in this. But if you have leftover vegetables from another meal, you can definitely use that. You don't have to have it. I microwaved mine just because they were frozen. All I did was I thawed them, got them a little past the thaw, it's starting to warm up a little bit. I didn't cook them because it's going to happen in the pot pie. All right. All right, that's 5 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and take this over and put it into my pie shell now. Okay, as you can see, it's still very hot. So I'm going to poke the bottom of my pie shell just a little bit so it can breathe, so it doesn't stick as much. All right. Then we're going to spoon it in until it's pretty much even. You don't want to go over too much. It won't. It'll reduce down a little bit, but not much. So we're just going to pour this in. So this is a deep dish pie shell. And this looks like I did the perfect amount. Yeah, perfect. All right. Spread it out even. More in the middle than the edges if you can. And then you get to watch me do what I am horrible at. Crusts. I usually have Andrea do this for me. I may still. Okay. So these crusts have been sitting out of room temperature for about 15-20 minutes before I started, because you don't want them to be too cold. You won't be able to work with them. All right. So now we're just going to seal this with a fork. So I tried, hopefully I did pretty well. I tried to keep the gravy and stuff off the edge of the crust. It won't seal as well if you can't get dough on dough. All right, some people like to pinch it. That's fine. Whatever method you prefer is best. I'm going to get a sharp knife and just cut the edges off. Some of the extra crust off. So Andrea is putting some vents in here so the steam will come out and it won't bubble up as much. So we're going to put this in the oven. You can do it several different ways. I'm going to use a silicone pie crusting thing. And we're going to put it in a preheated oven, 375, for about 35 minutes, maybe 40 minutes. You want it to go till the crust is nice and golden brown. And so this has been going for 35 minutes. Notice the crust is nice and starting to brown a little bit. It's not bubbling yet. I'm going to take the cover off. It's very hot. All right, looks beautiful. We're gonna give it probably another 10 minutes and then it should be done. It's not bubbling through yet though. It's been cooking for 45 minutes now. Not bubbling through the holes, but it is bubbling out the edges, and you can hear it, and you can definitely smell it. It is done. So that's been 45 minutes. We're going to take it and we're going to let it sit for about 10 minutes before we serve it. This is our finished product, our finished pot pie. We're going to cut it. Wow, look at all that steam coming out. Now we're going to use the pie scooper, but it's not going to come out as a nice piece of pie. It's going to gush out, but that's okay. Actually, it came out pretty good. There you go. Bon appetit.